Hello everybody, this is Miss Horvath, and this video is going to show you what you're going to need to do to set up your paper for your eraser print, okay? What you're going to need to do this is your sketchbook. So you can see this is just the sketchbook that I've got here, that I've got it folded so it's just on one page. I apologize, I couldn't quite get the camera up further, so I'll just have to move this around so you can see what I'm doing a little bit. Now ideally, like if we were back at school, what we would be doing to set this up is using a ruler. And my guess is some of you do have rulers at home, and my guess is some of you do not have rulers at home. But what you all definitely do have at home, hopefully, assuming you didn't lose it, is the little eraser thing that's gray, tan colored, that looks like this, okay? They are square. Pretty sure they're 1 inch square, but because we're not really going to use a ruler, that doesn't really matter too much as to the size of it, okay? Make sure you're paying careful attention to what I'm going to tell you here, because it's really important to getting this set up properly, okay? So on your sheet of paper, what you're going to do is put that little square ruler and make sure that it's up at the corner of the sheet of paper that you're using, okay? Right exactly in the corner with the flat edges up there matched exactly into that corner. And what I need you to do is go ahead and just make a mark on the other side. Do you need to make a mark on this side? No, you don't, because that should already be lined up to the edge of the paper, okay? Then you're going to take this and you're going to move it over, and guess what? Make a mark on the other side. Make sure it's a vertical mark going along the side of the eraser like that. And you're just going to actually keep doing that right across. You could see, I would hope, that how this is going to be similar to actually using a ruler to do a grid. All right, all the way across the whole page is what you're going to do here. Not super exciting viewing here, but now, one thing you're going to notice as I get over to the side, do I have space for one more eraser? No, I don't have space over here. That's not space for another one. But that's going to be okay. Just make sure you start over here on the right-hand side and mark it over that way. Okay, now, one thing I hope you remember we talked about way back earlier in the year is that anytime you're trying to make a grid, you always want to at least double mark your page. Remember that? So you don't want to just put marks up at the top. You also want marks down at the bottom so that you have two things to line up your straight edge with. So, starting on the same right-hand side, do the same exact thing. Put the ruler over there and make a mark on the other side of the eraser. I said ruler, I meant eraser. You know what I mean. So you're going to keep doing that all the way across on the bottom edge. Okay, make sure you're being really careful when you line these up. Don't be sloppy about it or you're not going to get a grid out of this. You're going to get a bunch of wonky lines. Okay, so right across, carefully, not sloppily. And you should end up with that same little extra bit of space when you get to the other side of it there. Okay? All right, now what you need to do is look around your house and find out what you have that could be used as a straight edge. So just looking around really quickly, I found that I had this definitely nice straight piece of cardboard. It has a nice flat edge to it. Another thing I found that I had was this kind of a magazine thing. That has a nice straight edge. What you want to find, you want to make sure that the thing you find is about the same size as your notebook too. And I found that I had this envelope that has a straight edge to it. Okay? So once you've got something that is the right size, and it's going to go all the way from the top edge to the bottom edge of your folder, what you're going to do is make sure you line it up so it touches the top mark and touches the bottom mark, right? This is very similar to what we did with the rulers. Once it's touching both of those two marks, and I'm double checking, even though, again, I'm sorry I can't show you this whole entire view at once. That would be optimal. It's touching both of those two marks. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line all the way down, okay? If it looks real wonky, if it doesn't look straight, if it doesn't look parallel to your edge, probably you didn't line up the ruler very carefully, or the eraser very carefully, and you might need to go back and fix something. Don't just keep going along and doing it. If you notice it doesn't look right, you know, if you're taking an art class and you're taking art as an elective, I would hope that you would have an eye to be able to say, oh, hang on, that's not quite right. And that you would also not only have that eye, but have the thought process in your brain that would say, let's not leave it wonky like this, let's fix it, because you're going to end up with something that doesn't look so good if you just do any old thing and you don't care about how it looks. Okay, so don't do that. So I'm hoping that you clever people are out there thinking about, to make a grid, what's going to happen next on this is going to be that this exact same process that I'm doing right now, vertically top to bottom, is going to then happen horizontally on the book, okay? To make a grid, because right now it's not really a grid, it's just a bunch of parallel lines. Okay. That one line that I did right there is not good. I'm going to fix that. You know, in the perfect world of using a ruler, that would not have happened because this thing I'm using as a straight edge is pretty bendy. But because I noticed it looks gross and terrible, I'm going to fix it, not just let it go. So that time I was a little more careful not to let it bend, okay? So now I'm going to turn the folder the other way, or the notebook or the sketchbook or whatever you want to call it. Again, I'm having trouble getting it in here. But this time I'm going to line the eraser up the other way, and I'm going to do the exact same thing I did before. Okay, now I'm hoping I don't need to show you this whole entire process here, because that's kind of boring, but then again, maybe I do need to show you. I don't know. Maybe I'll just do part way across. My only fear is if I only do part way across, somebody out there is going to be like, well, Ms. Horvath just wants me to go part way across. No, I don't. I want you to make a grid on the whole entire thing. So maybe I'll just go ahead and do this, because, I mean, come on. What do you guys have to do right now besides watch this super exciting video? Okay, notice that this time I actually started on the left-hand side and went to the right. So that's where I got my little extra piece from. Whichever way you do that, just make sure you start again when you do the bottom to double mark it. Start on the left-hand side again. Don't try to do this where you start on the other side to go back, because if you think about it, then you would have your one skinny piece up there and your other skinny piece down here, and the lines, the marks that you made won't match up to make a grid. So make sure that you're thinking about that and what makes sense with that. Okay, and then obviously, I hope it would be pretty obvious, what you're gonna do once you get this marked all the way across is you are going to take, again, your straight edge thing, whatever that straight edge thing is, and be really careful that it really is a straight edge. If you've got your piece of corrugated cardboard lying around from Project 1, for example, and you cut it, it's possible it doesn't really have a truly straight edge anymore. So make sure you definitely get something that you can tell for sure definitely has got that straight edge to it. Now that I'm on the shorter edge, you can see how I'm trying to make sure that I match up the two marks. Now somebody out there is going to be like, oh man, Ms. Horvath, you switched straight edges. Do I have to switch straight edges? You do not have to switch straight edges. I'm just showing you can use whatever thing does have a nice flat, definitely straight edge to it. And again, if you see something's looking wonky, if it doesn't look like it's making squares, it looks like some are skinny and some are not skinny, or any other thing like that, if it looks like your line is going crooked and not parallel, please don't just keep going. Please stop. And if you need to, message me or email me. Show me a picture of what you're doing. Ask me a question about it. Or I can even set up a one-on-one Zoom with you if you're really having trouble, and we can actually go over it. I've already done that with at least one person. We can do that and make sure that you've got it just right, rather than just plowing ahead with something that you can kind of tell is not just right. Okay, don't do that. That is going to end up in a grade that's not what you want. Okay. All right, so I'm just about to the edge of the paper here. Everything so far is looking really good. I'm seeing that my horizontals and verticals look parallel to each other. They look spaced out properly, and they also are perpendicular to each other, right? So I don't have some that look kind of weird and diagonal. Actually, that last one I just made off the bottom edge, I'm going to need to redo just a little bit. All right, so there you go. I've got the grid all the way across. I do have a little skinny edge there at the bottom, skinny edge over to the side. I should only have two edges with skinnies on them. One should be where the book is held together with the yarn, and the other should be down probably at the bottom of the page, okay? So that is it. That is the video. Pretty exciting stuff. Again, please let me know if you're having any troubles with it, because that needs to be done properly or the rest of the project will not work properly. Bye, guys.